You've probably heard about trust. Maybe you think they're only for billionaires or something people use to hide money offshore. In reality, trusts are one of the most powerful legal tools for wealth protection. I'm going to show you the complete process for setting up an offshore trust. The same legal structure that high net worth individuals use to protect their wealth from lawsuits, divorce, and creditors. I'll explain how this can work for you, if you should use it, and the best options. Now before we start, this isn't about hiding money or doing anything illegal. What I'm showing you today is a completely legitimate legal strategy that's been used for decades. Alright, so let's start with the basics, because if you don't understand how a trust actually works, the rest of this won't make sense. Now, every trust has three key players, and this is crucial to understand. First, you have the settler, that is you, the person who creates the trust and transfers assets into it. Then you have the trustee. This is a person or company that legally owns and manages the trust assets. And finally, you have the beneficiaries. These are the people who receive distributions from the trust, which could be you, your family, or whoever you designate. So you first have your offshore trust. Then you transfer your assets into that trust, and once transferred, those assets are no longer legally in your name. Now, of course, they are still yours, but on paper, they are no longer owned by you. The key difference is that legal ownership shifts to the trust. The assets are now owned and controlled by a trustee, who manage them according to the rules and conditions that you established when creating the trust. So this is not about hiding money or any evasion of any kind. It's a legal structure designed to protect assets in a formal and permanent way. This concept of legal ownership versus beneficial interest is absolutely critical to understand because it's what makes the whole thing work. Think of it like this. Imagine you own a house, but you transfer the legal title to a trusted friend while you continue living in it and receive all the benefits. On paper, your friend owns the house, but you're still the one benefiting from it. That is essentially what happens with an offshore trust, except it's much more sophisticated and legally bulletproof. The trustee holds legal title to everything, but the trust deed specifies that you and your designated beneficiaries receive all the economic benefits. This separation is what makes your assets nearly impossible for creditors to reach. So what are the main reasons why people form a trust? Well, if someone tries to sue you or a creditor comes after your assets, they can only go after what you legally own. Since the trust assets are legally owned by the trustee in a foreign jurisdiction with strong asset protection laws, those assets are effectively out of reach. You don't owe them anymore on paper, even though you still control how they're used and distributed through the trust structure. And this isn't some loophole or gray area thing, this is exactly how these structures are designed to work under international law. The key is making sure everything is set up properly and that you're not retaining too much control, which we'll talk about later. First, let's talk about where people open their trust. The two gold standard jurisdictions for offshore trusts are Nevis and the Cook Islands. Both of these locations have been specifically designed for asset protection, but they each have their own advantages. Nevis is part of St. Kitts and Nevis in the Caribbean, and the Cook Islands, on the other hand, is a self-governing territory in the South Pacific Ocean owned by New Zealand. First, let's talk about Nevis and why it's so powerful. Nevis is built for maximum legal protection. In practice, foreign courts are ignored. They don't automatically recognize foreign court judgments, so if someone gets a judgment against you in the US or Europe, that judgment has no automatic power in Nevis. The creditor would have to start completely over and sue you locally under local laws. And the same applies to the Cook Islands. If a creditor wants to bring a claim, they must first post a $100,000 bond before the case can even proceed. This immediately eliminates about 99% of frivolous lawsuits because most people aren't willing to risk that kind of money up front. There's also no public registry of trust ownership. The structure operates with a high level of privacy. The setup is relatively fast, typically taking around 5 to 7 days. For these reasons, Nevis trusts are commonly used by estate planners, fund managers, and international entrepreneurs seeking robust legal protection. The Cook Islands are very similar in that their trust laws are made to protect assets against external claims. This legislation is designed to make it extremely difficult for foreign creditors to succeed. foreign court judgments are not automatically recognized. If someone wants to pursue a claim, they must start a completely new case physically in the Cook Islands court under local law. This means they have to physically fly to an island in the middle of the Pacific. Creditors also face strict rules. They must meet a very high legal standard to win a case, much higher than in most normal civil lawsuits. On top of that, there are short time limits. If a creditor doesn't file a claim quickly, they lose the right to bring the case at all. And just like Nevis, there's also no public registry of trust ownership. Overall, the trustee confidentiality laws are extremely strong, and the burden of proof is heavily stacked against creditors. In most cases, creditors have to prove beyond a reasonable doubt that the trust was set up specifically to defraud them, which is nearly impossible if the trust was established before any legal issues arose. This also answers a common question of why you would want a foreign trust structure. Domestic asset protection is limited by domestic courts and domestic laws. If you set up a trust in the US and someone sues you in the US, that American court has complete jurisdiction over that US trust. But if your trust is in Nevis or the Cook Islands, the US court has no power to simply order the foreign trustee to turn over assets. Now let me show you how these trusts are actually structured in practice. At the top you have the offshore trust itself, a Cook Island or Nevis trust. This is your primary asset protection layer. Below that, you typically have an offshore holding company, often in places like the British Virgin Islands or Hong Kong. Then at the bottom, you have the operating companies. These are either for active income or passive income, so let's break that down. The trust sits at the top of the structure and serves as your main asset protection vehicle. This is where the legal separation happens. Once assets are in the trust, they're no longer legally yours. The trust is irrevocable, meaning you can't just change your mind and take everything back, which is actually what makes it so protective. The trustee has power over distributions, but they follow the guidelines you set out in the trust deed when forming the trust. Below the trust, you have the holding company layer. This company is owned by the trust and serves several purposes. First, it provides an additional layer of legal separation, but mainly it can hold various types of assets like bank accounts, brokerage accounts, and shares in operating companies. Also, it can provide tax efficiency depending on where it's incorporated and how your overall structure is designed. In this example, with the BVI LLC or Hong Kong Limited Company, this can be fully tax neutral. Layer 3 is then going to be separated in two, active income and passive income. For your active income, these are the entities that actually conduct business and generate income. You might have a Wyoming LLC for your US operations, a UAE free zone for online business, or a Hong Kong company for Asian operations. We choose any of these structures because if set up properly, they can also be fully tax exempt depending on your specific business structure, and all three of these offer that potential benefit. Each operating company handles its own business activities and takes its own commercial risk, but they're all owned by the holding company, which is owned by the trust. For passive income, a choice could be having a Bermuda or Cayman Islands LLC. This is where passive income assets can be held, for example, your crypto portfolio or even property. Finally, at the bottom layer, you have complete asset segregation. Your real estate might be held in separate vehicles, your brokerage accounts are separate from your trading companies, your crypto custody is separate from your trading entities. This means that if one of these areas gets into legal trouble, it doesn't expose your entire structure. The most important here, you need to hire a specialized trust attorney who has experience with offshore asset protection structures. This is not something you want to DIY or use a general attorney for. You need someone who understands international trust law, tax implications, and has actually set up these structures before. The attorney will be responsible for drafting all the legal documents and ensuring everything complies with both local and international laws. When forming a trust, you create a rulebook, the trust deed. The trust deed is the foundation document that governs how your trust operates. This document specifies who the beneficiaries are, what power the trustee has, how distributions can be made, and what happens in various scenarios. Your attorney will customize this document based on your specific situation, your assets, your family structure, and your protection goals. This isn't a template document, it needs to be tailored to your exact circumstances. Next, you'll appoint an independent trustee. This is crucial for the asset protection to work properly. The trustee must be truly independent and located in the trust jurisdiction. You can't just appoint your brother-in-law or your business partner, just to give you an example of how this works. The trustee is typically a professional trust company that specializes in these structures and understands their responsibilities. While the trust is being set up, you also establish the holding company structure that fits your situation. The trust will be the owner of this holding company, and the holding company will own various operating entities and assets. Once everything is legally established, you'll begin transferring assets into the trust structure. This might involve transferring shares of your companies, moving bank accounts, or restructuring how your assets are held. This process needs to be done carefully and with proper documentation to ensure the transfers are legally valid and don't create any unintended tax consequences. You also need to establish banking and brokerage relationships for the trust and holding company. This can be more complex than regular banking because you're dealing with offshore entities. But experienced trustees will have established relationships with banks that understand these structures. Finally, you need to establish ongoing compliance procedures. This includes annual filings, trustee reporting, tax compliance in relevant jurisdictions, and maintaining proper documentation. The trust isn't something you set up and forget about. It requires ongoing maintenance to remain effective and compliant. Now here's something really important that a lot of people get wrong. Setting up an offshore trust doesn't automatically eliminate your tax obligations. The tax treatment depends on your residency, the type of trust, how much control you retain, and various anti-avoidance rules that different countries have implemented. In most cases, you'll still need to report the trust to your home country's tax authorities. The US has forms like 3520 and 3520A for reporting foreign trusts. Other countries have similar reporting requirements. But the key is to make sure you're compliant with all reporting obligations while still maintaining the asset protection benefits. Your tax residency plays a huge role in how the trust is treated. Many countries have controlled foreign corporation rules or beneficiary taxation rules that can affect the tax treatment of trust income. This is why it's crucial to work with tax professionals who understand international tax law and can structure things properly for your specific situation. Before we wrap up, let's go over some mistakes people make with offshore trusts. The biggest mistake people make is waiting too long to set up for asset protection. You can't set up a trust after someone has already sued you or after a creditor's problem has already appeared. Courts will view this as a fraudulent transfer and the protection won't work. Asset protection needs to be implemented before you need it. It's prevention. Another major mistake is retaining too much control over the trust. If you can simply call up the trustee and demand distributions whenever you want, courts may determine that you're still the effective owner of the assets. The trustee needs to have genuine discretionary authority even if they generally follow your wishes as beneficiary. This has to be set up beforehand. Also, trying to set this up yourself or using inexperienced attorneys is a recipe for disaster. These structures are super complex and require specialized knowledge of international law, tax implications, and proper documentation. The money you save on professional fees will be meaningless if the structure doesn't work when you need it. The best time to set up asset protection is before you need it. Ideally, you want this in place before any legal risks appear. Before your divorce, before your company valuation explodes, before you're planning an exit that will create significant liquidity, and definitely before you're considering moving to a different tax jurisdiction. Now let's be realistic about who should consider this type of structure. Generally, you're looking at a minimum net worth of at least $1 million for this to make financial sense. The setup and ongoing costs need to be justified by the value of assets you're protecting. This structure makes the most sense for people in high-risk professions or business owners in litigation-prone industries. Crypto and high-risk traders, for entrepreneurs who are building valuable companies and want to protect their wealth before an exit event, and families protecting generational wealth. If you're serious about protecting your wealth and you meet the criteria we've discussed, the next step is to consult with qualified professionals who can assess your specific situation and design a structure that works for you. Don't wait until you need protection. By then, it's too late.